Previously, on the last 7 seasons of... 7? Jeez, is that right? I mean, really? 7 years of Stargate? Shouldn't we get a cake or something?
You all for this award. 2 years in a row. 2! Can you believe it? Can anybody believe it?
It's hard to turn on the TV and not see Stargate. Now, if you're anywhere in the continental United States or Canada and North America, it's always on. I know worldwide it's a huge success. I know the DVDs are selling like crazy.
Hello, Australia. I'm Amanda Tapping. Shoot, sorry.
Stargate's been on for a very, very long time. It is a legend among sci-fi fans.
The first thing I think you gotta get to have a hit show is someone like Richard Dean Anderson. I mean, he's a hit. And then you surround him with a competent cast of characters that have a chemistry with each other.
I'm really proud of the show. I think it's a great show. And I would never have imagined that we would have had enough juice to keep going this long. Huge thank you to the fans, because of them, we're back.
Bottom line, America, Stargate SG-1 is way better without Dr. Daniel Jackson.
True story, a few days after that segment aired, Stargate, the people at Stargate, contacted Pierre and offered him a part on the show.
Dr. Jackson?
One thing that has made SG-1 what it is the fact that audiences have wanted to bring those characters into their living rooms every week for going up on 8 years now.
Stargate SG-1 is a worldwide phenomenon, but after 7 years and 150 plus episodes, who can remember everything? Let's recap, shall we?
There was a portal that you could instantaneously be transported to another planet from.
Where the series picks up, the Stargate is in the possession of the Air Force, and a team is put together made up of Colonel O'Neill, Captain Carter, Dr. Jackson, and Teal.
This? That is that? You can stop that. I purposely made the character a bit dense, but that's almost, cheating for me.
Most of the guys I've dated recently have died. So much has happened to this woman. Most recently, personally, she's got herself a fella for the first time in 7 years.
It's quite funny for me as an actor to look back on, because season 1, basically, he was a mute. And now this year, it's just like yak, 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 yak. It's like he has a talk show or something.
Colonel O'Neill has officially informed me that I have my mojo back.
And over the course of their 100 and somewhat adventures, they've made a few enemies along the way.
There's the bad guys, who are the Goa'uld. The Goa apostrophe Uld.
That is not normal.
The hooded characters all look like this. I am very evil.
I just took this form now so we could relate. Actually, I used to look this way before my ascension.
A race of beings known as the Ancients, which we've started to loosely find out about over the course of the 8 years that the show's been on the air, created the Stargate.
That's an excellent, excellent concept.
The Asgard are one of our allies. They're the gray aliens. They're very powerful, and the Goa'uld kind of are afraid of them a little bit. And they protected Earth for a long time.
Well, that's what us Asgards do.
Anubis attacks in all his ships. Daniel Jackson, who also is an ancient at the time because he's ascended, he was going to stop him with his ancient powers. And you could see it in the actual shot. He throws his hands out at Anubis, who's been kind of egging him on. Oma Dasala, she grabs Daniel Jackson and takes him over, takes all his clothes off and throws him on this planet naked.
If you're going to come back naked, but don't do it in parks in Surrey in February in Canada, because whatever was there gets smaller.
And left things in the lurch last year. We did film something that could have served as an ending, because we'd been so many places spent so much time with the franchise. We wanted to be able to do it in a more prepared way, and we have that opportunity this year.
But hold on. Stargate is spawning. Ew. Stargate Atlantis is here, and you're about to get an exclusive look at the new series, the new cast, and the new bad guys.
Huge set. As you can tell, this is just one. Over there, we have one of the biggest sound stages in the world.
The sets are just fantastic. They're just great. It helps me to paint a larger picture of, obviously, my world.
I've never been so excited in my entire life. Generally, any opportunity my character gets to hit on someone in a scene, generally I'm doing that.
Please! The evil wraith. The evil wraith. They're very scary. They're essentially life suckers.
Baby, I love what you're doing with those tentacles.
The race scared the shit out of me, to be honest with you.
I'm Amanda Tappan, and you're getting the lowdown from Stargate to Atlantis.
We've been traveling off-world through the Stargate for the past 7 years. Of course, after being together so long on the show, the cast of SG-1 had become much more than just co-workers. We're a family. A dysfunctional and eccentric one. A cliche, actually.
Things have happened, things have changed, and natural evolution of a show. Now that we're into our 8th season, something had to happen. And they were so desperate, they made me a general. Did you get that?
I think O'Neill as a general is actually kind of refreshing for Rick because he gets to experiment on things that he never did before, like sitting down.
He'd much rather be out doing something than answering phones or dealing with paperwork. Of course, we play that up a lot in the early episodes.
He's not out there doing what he does, blowing up people and mouthing off and then mouthing off and blowing up people. And, we thought, no. You can blow up people by remote and mouth off to people by remote.
How many times have I told you, don't get caught by the bad guys?
We are, after all, the Air Force, and we wield those things, but I'm not a proponent of guns at all. It's quite the opposite. But yeah, there's the running joke about shooting any one of the larger pieces we have in there is that everybody tends to get wood. It may be balsa, but it's wood.
Lately, the dating scene's been a little stale, but then again, I am marooned on a spaceship.
Today, Carter is aboard a replicator ship getting tortured by Fifth. The return of Fifth.
Turn right!
It's also torturous because it's freezing cold in the studio today. Like, we saw our breath when we came in this morning. And we're having a heat wave outside. But for some reason, it's freezing cold, which is, of course, the day that I, Amanda, have to be on set half naked.
We have much time to share.
Nudity's not one of my fortes, so all in all, a little tense.
I never intended to abandon you.
You gained my trust, then you used me and left me behind.
There's some good career things that are going to happen for Sam. It's going to give her a lot more responsibility. We'll touch on how she handles that new responsibility. You shall see. I shall see. I haven't even read any scripts.
Pete the Stalker, there's a lot of talk about that.
I had never gotten so much hate mail as in the months following the airing of that episode. I mean, it was quite amazing.
There's a huge fan response, some very negative, some quite positive. A lot of the fans liked it. A lot of the fans thought it was great that you could see this other side of her that you've never seen and that she's not necessarily comfortable with. The flirty, girly side of Sam.
This was romantic.
Watching a man dance around in the rain with an umbrella?
Wait, just because there were no guns or car chases.
Or nudity.
Yeah, well, your chances of that are slim to none now, buddy.
I think there was real chemistry between him and Amanda, and the characters work together, and sorry to say it, but you're going to see Pete Shanahan back for season 8.
Personally, I don't know what's going to happen with Pete. I have no idea. A lot of people thought Pete was too much of a stalker. I don't think he's a stalker. I think he's a cop, and he is used to investigating things, and he really cares about her, and he just wanted to find out what her secret was.
I don't know that much about Pete, to be honest with you. Apparently he's no threat to O'Neill.
Sharkek nem run. I too will die free, brother.
You have to really consider yourself lucky to have 8 straight years of employment, 8 straight years of employment on a show like this, 8 straight years of working for and with people that really are concerned about you, not just as an actor, but as a person.
Don't give me the eyebrow.
Just had this beautiful, massive head, hairless head, and now he runs the risk of blending in.
Hopefully, before this is all said and done, I will have hair.
You know, at the beginning of those Chia Pet commercials, when they take the seeds and they just kind of spread them over the top of the armadillo or whatever the heck it is, the dog or the puppy or the... that's kind of how he's at right now. He's at the seed spreading thing. And I think it's just a matter of time before Chia Teal'c becomes a merchandise item, and we start to see that is going to waft up.
The show has undergone a transition period. So it didn't seem so outlandish now that Tip would have hair. There are stories being written that kind of deal with him becoming more Earth-like.
The people of this town are behaving strangely. Even for humans.
I know that he's also trimming his all his body hair, which is nice because that makes you look bigger. What I like to do is use dollhouse furniture in my bedroom, and I always find that makes me look gigantic.
They are getting a little bigger. You know why? Because I'm getting older, and it's harder to be thin. Actually, all it is I'm the butt of more jokes now.
That planet you guys found me on was nice. People were simple, life was quiet.
That's quite a way to make an entrance. I realize I'm quite pale, actually, on film. Anyway, I didn't get too many offers after it aired about any videos or special films to make or anything. So I'm assuming that it wasn't so bad, but it wasn't so good either.
Dude, come on, tell them how deep you are. You'd be lucky if you understand this.
My depth is immaterial to this conversation.
Oh, you see.
If he's not hasn't
Daniel Jackson is a mystery wrapped in an enigma that kind of walks around in a circle with a riddle.
You found all this and you didn't contact me?
We were going to.
They've been moved.
Daniel? Go to your happy place.
They're having a meeting about my behavior on set right now, and a lot of people are invited, so... it's just something I have to do every now and again because they get sick and tired of dealing with my crap.
Next, the Goa'uld, or if you can't pronounce it, the Gold, the Gould, the Kululula, and other alien badasses. Throughout the history of Stargate, we've had to deal with a lot of creepy, destructive alien thugs and bugs. But the studio executives rarely visit us anymore.
Well, in season 8, the bad guys are back, and they're mad. They're mad as hell because they don't have recurring roles.
The Goa'uld have been the bad guys since the movie, and I don't think anyone expected them to be such an evergreen villain. The variations on that theme of an egotistical, technology-grubbing parasite thing in some slave's body, bad guy.
We started to meet individual Goa'ulds, the most dastardly of which was Apophis.
I've always liked Apophis, maybe because he was my first. So you hold a special place in your heart for your first bad guy.
He had that, if you watch the movie, he talks like this. That's my best imitation of it. And then his eyes would glow. And he'd look over his shoulder a lot. He'd go like this a lot.
I know who you are, Daniel Jackson, but you know not who I am.
We've come up against a Uber Goa'uld by the name of Anubis, and what he has done is he has found a way to ascend.
The 101 begins with Goa'ulds, but Anubis that's when you're doing your kind of PhD in Goa'uld.
So Anubis is a whole new level a bad guy.
If Anubis is truly behind this, these beings are a great threat to all who hope to one day see the Goa'uld wither in defeat.
The guys who play the super soldiers are two of the biggest human beings on the face of the earth, but they are Anubis drones that are kind of have a very single-minded purpose.
I serve Anubis.
So it's always fun though, because to see them, because they can't really see that well out of the helmets. So it's always kind of an adventure to see how certain scenes are going to go, especially when it involves them walking a lot of movement with them.
5th millennial for a temporary escape. I can revive you again and again, 1,000 times if need be.
Ball, who has a lovely goatee, he's very handsome man, he's got great cheekbones, he could be an underwear model.
I like our little bit more sophisticated villains. I think we have a villain named Ball. His name's Ball.
I am Ball.
Ball will figure heavily in the ultimate fate of the ghoul. And you'll see him, do a little bit of bragging, a little bit of boasting, some threatening, and he may kill some people.
A wish easily granted.
As far as who Ball was, I know he's obviously based on an Egyptian god, and I just don't know the god of what. The god of pouring acid into O'Neill's shoulder.
We've also had some fun times playing, villains that have entered our characters' bodies and taken over that. You expect this character to be behaving certain ways, and you try and follow him and trust him, and then all of a sudden you see that he's really out for himself.
Dr. Jackson, what are you doing?
As I suspected, the president is obviously failing to overcome a lack of necessary leadership abilities. So I'm going to have to step in and prevent a global nuclear war.
Daniel, in an episode called Absolute Power, became a bad guy.
Daniel. Don't worry. There's no threat of residual radiation spreading as quick and clean. It's like cutting your enemy's heart out with a scalpel.
Along the way, we also created the replicators, who began as kind of bug creatures that make more of each other and replicate. Hence the name.
They were originally not our enemy. They were the enemy of one of our allies, the Asgard, another alien race. Keeping track at home.
Replicators exist merely to increase their numbers and do so without prejudice. They are no more evil than a virus.
The evil virus.
Then they got scarier when they became human form replicators.
I hate them. I hate working with them. But Fifth is going to prove to be a very interesting bad guy. And Patrick Curry is a wonderful actor and a great guy. And so we have a lot of fun. He's so pretty. He's the prettiest bad guy we have.
And brothers and sisters will devour entire civilizations in order to replicate.
The replicators are the bad guys, bad bugs. On the other side, the best character I've had to work with is, who's the little guy? The little puppet? Thor.
So how do you like this new ship?
Well, it smells like dog food, but apart from that, it's okay.
He is the franchise. And actually, my pet.
Peter DeLuise did the voice of Loki, and Michael Shanks often does the voice of Thor. And so you've got guys who can play kind of sly moments.
But it still starts off like this. People didn't know it for the longest time. I kind of wanted it to be just a big secret, but then they let the cat out of the bag, so.
Who's your favorite director so far that you've worked with?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, thanks a lot. After all I've done for you, and that's the kind of recognition I get.
Okay, it's you. It's you. You're my favorite. Ow.
Sorry, pal. Sorry, I never know my own strength. Sorry.
That freaking hurt. I'm gonna call my attorney.
Replicators will soon consume all that they can within our home galaxy. Yours will be next.
He's quite capable of doing his own voice, but for some reason, due to timing issues and issues of scheduling, they can't actually get him to track his own stuff. And I don't think he likes to do any stuff in post. I think that he should just get off his high horse and do his own voice one of these days, but he won't.
So you think the Goa'uld are bad? In the new sci-fi series, Stargate Atlantis, they've got some really nasty, evil aliens. And here's your exclusive first look.
The bad guys are, I still haven't figured out who the hell they are. They're strange. They are scary. They're called the Wraith. And they're part of a very strange extraterrestrial culture that feeds on life forms.
They're essentially life suckers. I mean, they feed off of life energy.
They're the ones who actually ended up virtually destroying the ancient race. So, yeah. And it's our job to just irritate them as much as possible. We got a serious enemy. And we piss them off pretty good right from the start.
I happen to be in a dormant state, and we actually, like knocking over a beehive, we've suddenly triggered off this entire very dark entity in the universe. So we're running for our lives most of the time.
They're terrifying. I respect them. I fear them. And I hate them.
To quit it short, the Wraith are just bad mofos, and that's it. There's nothing more to be said. You'll see. They're crazy. They're scary. And I don't know what they speak. They're nuts. I'm scared of them. That's it.
They're really resilient. I've killed a number of them. They all come back to life. I guess that's sci-fi, you know? They keep coming back to life. I gotta get a bigger gun, probably.
Next on the Lowdown, an exclusive look at the new world of Atlantis. Plus, we'll blow stuff up.
Out with the old and with the new, baby.
Producing Stargate SG-1 each week is like living in dog years. For every season we do, we age 7 years. So we're all actually 49 years older than you might think.
Probably my only demand as, I guess, the head of a show is just to make sure that people enjoy coming to work. So far, they all seem to.
It's insane. We're shooting all over the map. It's weird because they're now in stage 6, which was one of our stages. And so at any given time when you're standing outside the studio, you'll see the red light flashing and not know which show is shooting.
I'm okay with longer hours because I have a TV in my office. And I think as we speak, I'm having a toilet installed in my office, right where my desk chair used to be.
The most exciting thing about being able to produce a show like Stargate, especially in season 8, is you're really pushing the envelope on all kinds of filmmaking, mainly in the use of computer-generated effects and compositing with matte paintings, and just combining all those elements together to create new worlds, different worlds, unique, original, creative environments.
Close the iris. Open the iris. That's pretty much my job, right there.
One of the biggest first things that we had to address was obviously replicating the look from the feature film. So we had to try to replicate the look of the puddle.
It's a great device for a series because you can instantly walk through this portal and be exposed to these various types of cultures.
Getting to that point was really interesting, and that has been an evolving process, and now we finally got something good there. The next biggest hurdle that we've kind of tried to make strides in for visual effects was Thor.
Oh, yeah. This over here is for the various blinks, but also a lot of different expression, you know, widening the eyes, narrowing the eyes, and that has to be coordinated at the same time.
The replicator shows that we've done over the years, we've been nominated for Emmys for those, and Geminis, and all sorts of things. So that's been really, really great to be involved in.
It's just a great testing ground to try and realize those kind of futuristic visions.
It's so much fun doing this show, and especially because most of the time I get a lot of the big two-parters. The rule is when you get a big two-parter is that every 4.5 seconds something has to explode. And that's sort of a rule I made up, but it's a good rule, I think, and it's one I try to stick by.
Space adventure is important. Going out into space is important. And ancients and civilizations and jumpers and action, all that stuff is cool. But if you don't care about the characters, it's all meaningless.
You know, too bad I can't show you a preview of season 8.
He sacrificed himself to save us, all of us.
Thor, you're the only one who can save Colonel O'Neill. A Gould wants to arrange a treaty with us.
Not just one Gould, all of them.
This year, you're going to get even more Stargate with the premiere of Stargate Atlantis. I'm talking about a whole new galaxy, a new world, and an awesome new look. It's kind of like new shoes, only better.
For Atlantis, we went up to this glacier and shot the opening title sequence for the pilot and also the drone attack on John Shepard and Jack O'Neill.
I spent close to, I'd say, 6.5 or 7 hours in the helicopter itself, just riding around for the joy of it.
He had such a good time up there, and Joe Flanagan as well.
I actually have to admit that that's kind of one of the high points of the whole 8 years.
Out with the old and with the new, baby. Talk to me in 8 years.
Who's going to complain about doing a bunch of chopper scenes with MacGyver? Gotta love it.
That was different. For me, not so much.
Now look at this. You are watching the entire set of Stargate Atlantis being built. I mean, these people never took a break, except, of course, for a hockey game.
Finally, we discovered the lost city of Atlantis, but there's a few changes I wanted to make. So if we could, a little further to the left. Keep going with that. That's great. Yeah.
The sets are just fantastic. They're just great. It helps me to paint a larger picture of, obviously, my world. And this is vastly different from where I come from, where Taylor comes from.
We're having loads of fun, and they have done so much work. It's a beautiful set. We hope that we can keep your interest after fabulous Stargate.
Hello, and welcome, fellow space travelers. I've snuck into the control room here just to give you guys a little basic rundown of, the way things work here. First off, you'll notice that all of these panels are lit from below. Some people think that's a lighting issue and that it makes these look more realistic and more sort of sci-fi. Actually, the reason they're lit like that is because I can place a coffee on here. It will remain warm throughout the scene. This very high-tech looking device, usually used just to connect to the rest of the Atlantis city, is actually a direct connection to my manager and my agent when the obvious problems occur with other cast members, possibly like a tuna sandwich that may not be tasting quite right, that sort of stuff. This here, actually, most people believe that this is a 3D map of Atlantis, the lost city of Atlantis. Not so. As it turns out, this is actually a beautifully rendered 3D map of my Malibu home. You'll notice the bedroom is the largest section in the center, and let me tell you, it gets a lot of action.
Atlantis is a really challenging project. There's a lot of visually challenging, a lot of visually difficult things in it. The main one is, of course, the city coming out of the water. Water has always been difficult. We know the water's going to be difficult, so let's just admit that. But let's try and come up with the coolest looking shots that we can. So we've decided to bring the city up at sunrise because it's difficult. They needed to come up with an adversary, the Wraith, who were sufficiently powerful that they could have defeated the Ancients, but who are sufficiently stupid that we can outwit them on a week-to-week basis. And that's pretty tricky. It comes out in the first episode that the Wraiths can project illusions where you think you see them, but they're not really there.
They travel in these ships, and actually over here are some of the first charcoal sketches of what we thought would be the Wraith fighter craft and the mothership. The mothership is massive, and it has landed on a planet long enough while they slept, the trees have grown on the actual ship itself, obscuring it. So you don't even realize what you're into until you're right on their front doorstep. And then, of course, ultimately by then it's probably too late.
You want the real lowdown on the new Stargate Atlantis? Stay tuned.
The best part about it is running around with large artillery pieces.
Stargate grows from SG-1 all the way to the lost city of Atlantis. Show creators Brad Wright and Robert Cooper tell us how easy that was.
The first thing you have to understand is that Brad has had several plans. There have been a lot of plans.
I've planned.
Originally, it was more of a handoff, and now both worlds had to coexist.
And not step on top of each other. And more importantly, we didn't want to have a situation where the solution in one universe would be to just call the other guys. It made Robert and I rethink a little bit what we originally had in mind for Atlantis, and to set Atlantis in another galaxy entirely.
If this is not the Lost City, then where is it?
That place that we find at the end of Lost City is not the Lost City of Atlantis, but an outpost left behind when the city left Earth millions of years ago and flew off to the Pegasus galaxy.
Our specific mission is we've essentially found the lost city of Atlantis. We have to tap into this ancient city and the ancient technology and stuff like that. So we're here for quite a while.
What is Atlantis all about? What is your mission?
I don't know. I haven't read that one yet.
Atlantis is a sort of a one chance trip that Earth has to get into a new galaxy. We have just enough power to get out there. We do not have enough power to get back. So we have found ourselves in a new galaxy, in an unexplored city, and it's a very international team.
The whole purpose of this is knowledge and understanding humanity on the widest scale available, and how that will teach all of us individually and everybody back on Earth more about ourselves.
Can't get into specifics or I'd have to kill you.
We should be wiping the slate clean, and that we should give our new heroes a chance to deal with new problems and new enemies. So putting them in this other galaxy really allowed us to say, okay, we're starting from scratch here. These are people going on a brand new adventure.
Starting a new show with a new cast can be really tricky. Lucky for us, we have a group of talented, dedicated actors who don't know what the meaning of serious is.
The character I play is Major John Shepard. There's a little bit of irreverence in this guy. He's out to have fun. This is an adventure. But he is somewhat reluctant to get involved in this.
I told Dr. Weir that I'd think about it.
So? Well, what?
At the beginning of our 2-hour pilot, he's not the hero of this show.
You know, this isn't about you, Shepard. It's a lot bigger than that.
Right now, at this very second, whether I decide to go on this mission or not seems to be about me.
Over the course of the 2 hours, he becomes the hero. He really takes leadership and takes ownership of the team.
Why'd you become a pilot?
I think people who don't want to fly are crazy.
And I think people who don't want to go through the Stargate are equally as whack.
The best part about it is running around with incredible special effects and large artillery pieces. Makes up for something that's missing in my life. I don't want to talk about that, but...
Dr. Elizabeth Weir, she is an interesting choice as a head of Atlantis crew because she doesn't come from military at all. She comes much more from political science, from human relations. So she went from dealing with United Nations to understanding there's actually aliens that we have communications with. So she's still a virgin with all this. And I think one of her strengths is she's aware of that. I think she's a bit of a hippie idealist in her heart for there to be just peace, love, and understanding.
This chair controls the most powerful weapons known to humankind. I'm afraid of the thing.
We put the civilian, the person with the sort of moral code, in charge of the expedition and made the military guy subordinate to her.
It will totally undermine your leadership. So as ranking military officer,
all right, just shut up and listen to me for a moment, all right? As a woman, if you are very, very strong, you can be considered a diva, or I don't know what my language could be here, a bitch.
God, you're a jerk.
I wish I didn't find you so attractive. I always had a real weakness for
dumb blondes.
David Hewlett plays McKay. He and I had this really interesting antagonistic dynamic between our characters, and he was in a couple of episodes. And last we saw him on SG-1, he'd been sent off to Russia. And now even worse, they've sent him to a completely new galaxy.
It's kind of sad because she's got this horrible crush on me. I'm trying to let her down easy. Hit me. Ow!
I'm not even going to make any bones about it. Carter is smarter than McKay.
It's not hard to be smarter than me. My character has got the book learning, but not the practical knowledge, which is what's nice about the Stargate Atlantis stuff, is that now he's thrown into the field where he actually has to prove that not only has he got the smarts, he's got the courage to back it up, which actually he doesn't in most cases.
From what we've been able to ascertain, the city is powered by 3 zero-point modules. 2 are entirely depleted, and the 3rd is reaching maximum entropy. When it does, it'll die too, and nothing can reverse that.
All of the characters have a very good sense of humor about themselves, except maybe my character, who is just funny to laugh at.
Taylor, we encounter her in the Pegasus Galaxy. She's from a planet called Athos, and she is the leader of her people. She is strong, she's intuitive, she kind of has a second sense about her. She is a great fighter, a great warrior, and a wonderful protector for people.
Whoa!
Well, the Athosians are actually an interesting blend of native and primitive with technology.
I am Taylor Emagan, daughter of Tagan.
There is an immediate connection between Taylor and Shepard. I don't think Taylor is one to trust people easily, but for some reason, she immediately trusts Shepard.
Lieutenant Ford he's a young cat, but he's very adamant about his position. He's definitely the weapons expert and a military force on the team. Never lose your guns, always by your side. Like a good woman, or a good man, or a good dog, or a good goldfish.
He put himself on tape and put it up on a site, and we ended up looking at his audition on a little MPEG file. And we're staring, Robert and I are staring at this tiny little screen and going, this guy's really good. Love this guy.
He managed to make it back to the base and was ordered to report to his commander. Instead, he climbs in another bird and went back for Captain Martin. And so when I came in here and looked at the new Stargate, and I was like, oh my God, what have I got myself into?
What's it feel like?
It's like hell, sir. You get the chance to play a guy who's is into guns, and he goes and he runs around, and someone says, oh, that guy's a bad guy, and he's like, I'll handle it. I like being that guy. Lieutenant Nathan Ford, he's the man. You'll learn to love him. You'll love him before you learn.
Next on the Lowdown, an exclusive look at the new Stargate Atlantis. We do have clips to show, don't we?
I love it.
Okay, hopefully the TV system lords that bless Stargate SG-1 with great global success will do the same with upcoming Stargate Atlantis. This team has a new gate and an all-new mission.
I just wanted to be able to contribute in some way and help make the transition a little smoother and, I guess, credible as a seed to start a new franchise.
See what I have in here. I have a cell phone, which I actually get reception in Atlantis, which is amazing. I'm gonna walk around going, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Everybody on Stargate, it was such a joy to work with them because these people that it's in their blood now. They're just so comfortable with it. Everyone from the actors to the crew so you walked in and you just felt safe. And they're being so welcoming and warm and funny and that is just an incredible gift. We just feel we have this sort of big brother saying, it's okay, come on.
Stargate's been on for a very, very long time. It is a legend among sci-fi fans. And, I think what's nice about Stargate Atlantis is that it's not a replacement to SG-1. It is a complement to it.
Fantasy and sci-fi, and what makes that realm so exciting is that it's endlessly fascinating. Anything could happen. And everything is possible. That's what's so exciting about Stargate and what is so exciting about this show.
How do I like being on it? I love it. I love it.
I think that if there is a level of expectation for the show to fill the shoes of something like SG-1, The producers are probably feeling that responsibility, not me. I'm having fun. Let them worry.
Me, I like Ferris wheels and college football, anything that goes more than 200 miles per hour. So that's not going to mean anything to them. Feel free to speak up. I'm just trying to make the easy.
Major John Shepard. We're going to be working very close, being as I'm second in charge to him. Shoot lots of Wraith with him and get shot a couple times and fall and say some scientific jargon I don't know and all sorts of great stuff.
So little fear. Is it valor or ignorance?
Like giving the alien dialect, I think she will be the one that most quickly deciphers and translates and tries to be the bridge. At this point, I don't know any, though. Come back in a week. I'll do a haiku in Wraith.
I get to be off of Earth for a while. You know how troublesome Earth can be from time to time, so it's nice to get a little escape.
We walk through a wormhole, and all of a sudden we're in a completely different world, different elements, and there's so much to anticipate and look forward to. It's fun, it's colorful.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Atlantis. Please remain seated until the puddle jumpers come to a complete stop.
Most of the time, new series are works in progress. I think these guys know what they want, and they know how to do it. So that's nice. Once again, I have no responsibility.
I'm Amanda Tappy, and as promised, here's an exclusive look at the new Stargate Atlantis, only on Syfy. Looks good, doesn't it?
You are the world's best and brightest. You're also the bravest.
You truly cannot return to your world?
No.